spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face. Even a person born in a family of dog eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about him, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. So Srila Prabhupada's purport today was all about the potency of chanting, hearing, or remembering the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjanan Chalakaya Chakshu Ummalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishtaya Bhutale Shri Mati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pachanine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Pastatyade Shatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gauda Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, in all the revealed scriptures, it is stated that the holy name is the most powerful process for spiritual elevation. And I'll read some of those statements from the scripture. So here, the Karma Purana, so these are all different Puranas quotes. The Karma Purana states that the process of chanting the Mahamantra has the power to eradicate the accumulated and sinful reactions, and much more. So much so that the Mahamantra can absolve more sinful reactions than one is even capable of committing. It further states that it is impossible to commit such volumes of sinful activities in this age of Kali which cannot be eradicated by the chanting of the Mahamantra. The Brahmananda Purana states that the chanting of the Mahamantra can purify even the most fallen sinner, and after he has become purified, he in turn is to be counted among the saintly persons. He can purify others by his association. The Srimad Bhagavatam 12.12.48 states that when people properly glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead by chanting the Mahamantra or simply hear about his power, the Lord personally enters their hearts and cleanses away every tract of misfortune, just as the sun removes the darkness, or as a powerful wind drives away the clouds. So we could go on and on. There are so many statements in the Srimad Bhagavatam, other literatures, that glorify the chanting of the holy names. Also, we know that Lord Chaitanya also gave an explanation of the glories of the holy names. And one of the offences in the holy names, in the chanting of the holy names, is to believe that these glories are imagination, or to not have complete faith in the power of chanting of the holy names. So there are 10 offences in the chanting of the holy names. And we may think, well, I'm not offending devotees, and I'm not considering the holy name to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. I'm following the instructions of my spiritual master. But am I having complete faith in the potency of the holy name? Do I really understand the holy name's potency and the benefits of chanting the holy name? And do I fully have faith and accept those glories of chanting the holy name? Recently on New Year's Eve, we went on Harinam in the city and Queen Street, and there was many people. Obviously on New Year's Eve it's a busy place, but there was nothing happening. There was no other entertainment. So the Hare Krishnas were the central entertainment for all these drunk people on Queen Street. When we came into the centre, where the two roads converge, which is where the fireworks are generally seen, and there was probably hundreds of people surrounding the devotees. And Divya Prabhu was getting everybody to chant. So there was literally hundreds of people chanting Hare Krishna. They were completely intoxicated on alcohol and drugs, most of them. And the mood was very wild, we could say. And then the devotees started walking away, and we were followed by many people. It could have been as much as 50 to 80 people were following the devotees and all chanting loudly. It was quite a scene. You had ladies with small dresses on and men who were just completely intoxicated, completely wild. And I just had this momentary vision of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. You could see it was a full-on Kali Yuga scene. There was these beautiful devotees in the middle, surrounded by Jagais and Madais, fully intoxicated. And they were just chanting Krishna's names to their full satisfaction. And you could see in that moment why Lord Chaitanya has initiated this process of the Sankirtan movement. Because even those who are engaged in the most sinful activities can immediately experience an elevation and some release from their sinful activities and gain so much benefit. So if we understand the glories of chanting the holy name, how much benefit are these persons gaining simply by engaging in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, even unknowingly. They had no idea what they were doing. They didn't know that they were chanting God's names. They didn't know that the people they were chanting were the devotees of God. They were just chanting loudly this holy name. So the unfortunate thing is that after chanting the holy name, they go immediately back to their sinful activities. So they were with us for 5 or 10 minutes and then they're gone again. So devotees, we might hear about the glories of the holy name and question, why do we need to chant every day? I said, even if one chants the holy name once, there are so many benefits. Ajamil, he was saved from going to hell despite all of his sinful activities for chanting the holy name once at the end of his life. And he wasn't even chanting the holy name consciously, he was just calling out to his son Narayan. But still he was saved from going to hell. And so as aspiring devotees, we're chanting the holy name every day. 16 times 108. At least every day. If we're conscious, we're also chanting continuously, even when we're not chanting. We're chanting within our mind, even when we're not chanting with our beats. So we may chant more rounds every day. And we're aspiring to get to the stage of offenseless chanting. So these glories of the holy name are manifest when the chanter is chanting without offenses. And when the chanter is chanting with faith, then the holy name actually manifests its real potency. So there's chanting without offenses, and then there's chanting purely, which is another whole level. And the 10th offense in chanting the holy name is to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name, but also to be inattentive while chanting. So what does it mean to be inattentive while chanting? Yeah, we're not listening to the chanting. So if I'm not listening to the chanting and I'm not present with the chanting, where am I? I'm most likely in my mind. So a self-realized person has realized that he's not the body and that he's actually spirit soul. That's a symptom of one of the symptoms of a self-realized person. There are many symptoms, but it stems from realizing that you're not the body. What does it mean to realize that I'm not the body? Does it mean that I read the verse in the Bhagavad Gita and then I have this sudden understanding? That's certainly part of it. But somebody who realizes that they're not the body can live constantly in that consciousness which is beyond the body and beyond the mind. So the mind is the subtle body and the physical body is the gross body. Now, for a lot of devotees, we hear that we're not the body, and so there's a tendency to not reject the body, but to be out of the body, to be disassociated from the body. I'm not the body, so I disassociate from the body. But then we may not realize that we're actually stuck in our minds. And I can speak from personal experience, where we can be almost permanently and constantly in our minds. There's a constant inner dialogue, inner talking. So when we do sit down and we chant the holy name, we may focus for 5% of the time if we're lucky. And the rest of the time, where are we? We're all off, away from the body, away from the holy name. We're off in the ether with our minds. So in order to be with the holy name, because to be with the holy name actually means to be with Krishna. Krishna says he's none different from his holy name, which is why the holy name is so potent, so powerful. In order to be with the holy name, we actually have to be with ourselves. We have to be free from the mind and be actually present. So being free from the mind and being present actually means to be conscious. And then when we're in a position of consciousness, then we can actually be present with our chanting, and we can actually hear the holy name. So this is something that we have to practice, not just when we sit down to chant our rounds, but we have to practice it almost constantly in our lives. Practice being present. And I think for a lot of us, I speak for myself personally, we have to actually get back into the body. Now that almost sounds like going backwards in our spiritual life, but it's bringing consciousness back into the body so that we're present with ourselves. And we're not floating away with our mind. So when the master of the house is present, then the house is functioning well. But if the master of the house, i.e. the soul, is away from the body, because he's in the mind, he's in the ether, then the body is also not going to be very healthy. So, yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is that by being present with ourselves and being conscious, Prabhupada did say, be conscious before being Krishna conscious, by being conscious where I am and what I'm doing, and when I'm chanting the holy name, I'm being completely present with the holy name, so that I'm able to just simply hear the holy name and be present with Krishna. And in that state, in that condition, then the potency of the holy name can actually manifest in our hearts. Because we have to have faith that the holy name is going to do all the work. The holy name is illuminating like the sun. The holy name can take away all of our sinful reactions. The holy name can give us complete liberation. The holy name can awaken our consciousness completely to understanding our identity and our relationship with Krishna. There are so many there's such a deep process that we can go through chanting the holy name. And we may be only scratching on the very surface. So knowing that there's so much more also gives us inspiration to dive deeper. To dive deeper into our chanting, to be more present with Krishna, to be more present with the holy name. and to have faith that by doing that we're going to experience so much more than we're currently able to. So we're very fortunate, actually, we're very fortunate in this Kali Yuga age that we have this opportunity to chant the holy name. Despite all the negative and suffering aspects of this age, the holy name is giving us such a wonderful opportunity. So it says in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Pruchanaya sadhanam vinashayata dushtritam. Whenever there's a rise of a religion, or predominant rise of a religion, at that time I descend to annihilate the miscreants and to save the devotees. So people might say, well, where is Krishna now? Because look at the state of the world, is in such a bad place. Where is he? But he says he's manifested in his holy name. Krishna's name is none different from Krishna. So by chanting Krishna's name, we are with Krishna. And by chanting Krishna's name publicly or congregationally, then we're manifesting Krishna for others also. Does anybody have any questions or comments? I know when it comes to a new year, people always make resolutions. New Year's resolutions. It's an interesting time. So the end of a year means it's a mark in time. It's the same like a birthday, it's a mark in time. So whenever there's a mark in time, devotees like to reflect, we like to think about, okay, where am I at? Where was I at this time last year? Where am I at this time this year? How am I going to go deeper into my Krishna consciousness this year? So for me personally, I was thinking about being more present with my service and with my chanting, being more conscious, so that I can try to be free of the offensive and attentive chanting. All glories to His Divine Grace, Asa Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Sadhu Sangha ki jai.
Must have a safe place. Yeah. Is it off or? Is it stopped?
Could ask Ben, he must know. I think you have to push the bed button.